Hey y'all, it's my new dance track. It's called Videotape. Alright, okay, just kidding. Knock that crap off, Warren. We don't need none of your nonsense on YouTube. There's enough of it already. Hey y'all, welcome to this video on Videotape, a piece of musical masterwork from the good old boys Radiohead. If you want to learn how to play Videotape, I'm going to direct you to this really cool thing called a search bar. Look it up. There are probably a ton of videos on how to play it. It's a simple song with maybe 4 chords on the piano and a little bit of a melody played throughout it. But this video is not about that. This video is about something far greater, hidden beneath the surface of this song Videotape. If you think that Videotape is a simple, oh, how hard could it be to play one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You're already wrong. You're already wrong about Videotape. There is much more going on underneath the surface, and that's what this video is all about. Specifically and chiefly in the rhythm of the song. Videotape, man, Videotape has, let's see, at least 9 different versions I can count right off the top of my head. I mean, we got the live from the basement version. We've got the Tom York solo from the basement version. We've got the Scotch Mist version. We've got the Bonnaroo version from 2006. Everybody's crazy about. Of course, we got the album version. We got the live tour versions from later on. And you know, this song has had so many iterations that you have to kind of wonder. It's like, did the band not decide on how to play the song? It may be. The answer is it may be. The song is still evolving, in my opinion, especially with the latest iteration. When you look up Videotape from recent tours, you have 2 drummers. You have Clive joining the band and playing Videotape and adding his little touches in it. And how we'll begin today, how we begin this, crazy journey through the world that is Videotape. The song Videotape can open your ears and your mind up to. We're going to start from a video from a guy, turn it down, named Ollie Faybeck. You might be wondering, why am I showing you a video in a video? Well, the cool thing about this is there's a guy named Ollie Faybeck. He went to a Radiohead show in 2012 in Berlin, and he uploaded this video, and I found it, and it was just so cool because it was one of the more detailed versions of this song live that I had seen. I mean, like, you look for concert footage, you always see stuff. Forgive me for talking over the video, but you always see videos where the song starts right in the middle. It's already almost over. Or you see song videos that like end abruptly before the song finishes, or it's just like shaky. It was filmed on a potato, or vertical, even worse. But Ollie got it right. So that's one cool thing I like about this video. A lot of things I like about this video, but it's you can see it's very clear. And for some weird, hey, there's Clive, like I mentioned, and there's Phil. It's 2 drummer version. This is from 2012 again, 5 years after the album version. And this particular version, I am showing this because I went back to find his video, and it's gone. The guy still uploads concert footage. Maybe it got taken down. Maybe he decided to delete it. I have no idea why. The only reason I'm playing it for you now is because for some weird, mysterious, like, gut instinct I had, I downloaded the video. Like, I love the song a lot, but like, I don't know why I felt like I needed to download this video from YouTube. Thank God I did, because this may be the only surviving copy. But the chief #1 thing I love about, look at Colin right here. He's grooving. It's like he's, you notice something? It's like he feels something. He's feeling something so much that something's gonna happen very soon in the video. That's my favorite thing about this video. He's grooving. There's something going on underneath the song, and it's like a simple song, but something more going on. You can see. Look at, oh, you see his face? You see his face right there? I'm gonna stop the video right here and go back. And hit play again. You can see the look of joy that comes across his face when Clive does something. That's so great. He's like so happy about that. That little hi-hat hit. he's like, I'm gonna screenshot this. This is like a look of pure joy on Colin Greenwood's face. You might wonder, why is that? Okay, obviously he's having a good time. Warren, why do you like this video so much? Is that really it? Well, the way Colin is moving, he's doing this like side to side. It's like he's in a dance club. It's like he's feeling something. And when you listen to the song, especially this version and the album version and the Tom York solo version from the basement, you don't hear anything that would make you do this like club movement. You don't hear anything. And for some reason it alludes to this, that there's more going on with the song than meets the eye. First listen, okay? Now, if we go back, and this is my favorite version right now, I mean, it changes, but if we go back and look at the other versions of Videotape, and you go way back to the beginning, Radiohead debuted it in 2006, and it was with this version in Bonnaroo, and they did a really, really great performance. They debuted it in Hammersmith Apollo in London, and that tour, the version ascended, and evolved until it became the Bonnaroo version. I believe is kind of how the timeline goes. But people everywhere are just so disappointed with the album version. It's really funny because they're so attached to this Bonnaroo version. And for good reason, because when you listen to it, it's like, oh my Lord. And Johnny Greenwood is doing these vicious upstrokes. Locate video of them playing in the 2006 version. And way back then, this version is obviously hugely energetic. It's wild. It's like got this frenetic energy and pulse to it. What the hell happened to all that energy when they released it in 2007? And this like minimal, kind of, you got a little bit of 808 in there. You got this like, it's just so sparse, and it's, what happened to the energy? So I can understand the disappointment. People were crestfallen that they didn't make a version of this song on the album in Rainbows like the one that had debuted in 2006 on tour. But when you listen to this, it's like a very, very different experience, and you gotta wonder why. What's going on? Did they really ruin it in the album version? I had a very, very funny experience with this song myself. If you've been following this channel for a while, you know I like the band Radiohead. You know I didn't discover Radiohead until 2005, 2006. And I didn't even know about them touring. I mean, I had heard their singles a long time ago before, and my brother had shown me Creep and, you know, introduced me to the band, but I didn't know Radiohead until maybe 2005, 2006. And around that time, my friend, Nate, he showed me a video of Tom York playing the song solo on piano, and I was really, really into it, and I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. It's gorgeous. And I'd gotten into Radiohead's previous albums, and just hearing it stripped down and just like naked like that, I mean, I'll just play it a little bit. Not that one, this one. If you haven't heard this version, you need to. it's like a $2,000 microphone or whatever he's singing into. But yeah, I heard that version. I was like so taken aback by it that when I heard the album version, it was maybe the second or third version of the song that I'd heard, and I had not heard the Bonnaroo version, so I didn't have the same experience that a lot of people who had been following the song from its inception had. I came in later when in November of 2006 the Tom York solo version from the basement was just him and a piano. I didn't have those like expectations with it that it was going to be this crazy rock number. And things started to really mess with me when I went on a message board one day and people started talking about Videotape, the album version, how they're so disappointed that the song didn't sound like the 2006 version. This was new to me because I loved the song, as sublime as it was, and it's like minimal and restrained delivery on the album, that I was just like, well, what's the big deal, right? And so I remember posting when somebody, like they put this thing up, it was called the Mephisto mix, okay? And it was like sometime, I think after the Scotch Mist version came out, which is amazing. Has a lot of ambient stuff from Ed. But if you hear this version, the Mephisto mix, very similar to the 2006 version. You notice something? And it sounded wrong to me because I had never heard the 2006 version, but it sounded completely wrong. I heard this version, people were all praising it, saying this is the closest thing we'll get to the 2006 version. This is really cool. The guy who made this, I guess his name was Mephisto, he based it off the piano-only version and added other things to it. And I was just like, yeah, this version sounds really great, except one thing, you got the piano rhythm wrong, because the rhythm on the piano is syncopated in this version, and it's not syncopated in the album version. It can't be. Surely it isn't. And somebody gently corrected me, and I think this was on the Mortigi Tempo message board back in 2010. And someone gently corrected me and was like, actually, it was syncopated in the live 2006 versions. Go check it out. And so I checked it out, and I'm like, sure enough, Johnny Green was doing this crazy upstroke thing, and like Phil's playing this like straight ahead rock beat with like the syncopated kick drum, and the piano is playing with the syncopated kick drum. And it wasn't like that in the beginning of the song. It's like there's this reveal moment, and it's like it started to like introduce some doubt into my mind that the version that I had heard on the album and in the basement solo version, it started to introduce some doubt in my mind that I had been hearing it the way that the band heard it. And I was just like, surely it cannot be syncopated, like maybe the 2006 version live, sure, that version is syncopated, but they got rid of that in the album. They got rid of it, right? Well, okay, I started to do some research, and I found a website around that time called Citizen Insane, and all Radiohead fans probably know about it. It's really great. It's run by this guy that I met online and almost had a chance to meet in person when I was in Berlin. But he was sick. He couldn't meet up. And this site is great because it has all this information about every song and album, and like it has all these like interviews and really, really great like information. It's just a huge resource for Radiohead fans. And I went and looked up some information about Videotape, and I'm like, I don't know what's going on here. And there was a little section I remember on the website, I can't find it now, but I ended up locating it instead on the Wikia. Oh no, not the web archive. I went looking for it, but the Wikia. There it is. There was a little section on Citizen Insane written about Videotape being syncopated. And I'm like, shut up. There are other people who think that the album version is syncopated too. And there's this little part where it links you to this video at 93 Feet East, which is a rough trade venue in London, where Tom York has this like, issue. Listen to this. He's like looking over at Johnny's like, and he stops playing and he's like pushing with his hand, like, he, give me the hi-hats only, he says. Temporary loss of information. I'm keeping the hi-hat going. I'm doing the hi-hat right here. Keyboard right here. Kind of comes in a little bit after the hi-hat. And you, oh, not that, sorry. But you notice in this version, Tom York lost the beat, and you gotta wonder, okay, if this live version, which debuted in 2008, you know, and the studio version, which sounds like it's like really simple, if these versions are all like piano playing 1, 2, 3, 4, there's no reason to get lost. There's no reason for Tom York to lose the beat, right? And so it just doesn't make any sense why Tom York would lose the beat if that's the case. And this is something that I started to just like, it started to really mess with me. And then I did some more research, and more research eventually led to these quotes that I found online. And I can't, oh yeah, where is it? It's right here. So here's one from Phil. During this interview, was there any particular song that took you a considerable amount of time to get straight in the studio? And someone, okay, it's Phil. Yeah, Phil's answering this part. Videotape in Rainbows, from rehearsals right through to the studio. It took me about 2 years to find the one in the bar. And even then, someone had to hit me around the head to show where it was. Okay, so now the one is not hard to find if you think that the piano part is, it's simple, straight ahead, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? But Phil, the drummer, cannot find the one. He couldn't find it for 2 years. And it was just like, wow, okay, there may be something to this thing now that like it's syncopated. And I thought, okay, maybe there's something more to this thing. I need to look into this deeper. And at the time, around a little shortly after the album, there was another website called At Ease. It's a huge Radiohead forum. I don't even know if it's still around. But Nigel was known to have weighed in on this kind of debate as well. And there's a cool comment I found that quotes it, although I can't find the original anymore, by Cool Phone on Reddit. And he's a guy who's like really obsessed about this idea too. I looked through his like history, and he like literally just made comments about Videotape 5 days ago, 9 months ago, 10 months ago on Videotape. It's pretty funny. Perception of the beat, deliberate effect. But in this quote, he quotes Nigel, okay? And this was like the final thing that did it for me. I doubted that it was Nigel, but you know, it just made a lot of sense after he said this. And he said, well, frankly, like everything in life, it depends on how you look at it. But technically speaking, the piano chords are all pushed. In other words, before the beat. That's how Tom hears it in his head, even if it's possible to think of it as on the beat. I hear it both ways. You begs the question. If you hear the chords on the beat and you love the song, does it matter? What was that sound? It's outside. And you love the song, does it matter? I don't think so. And Nigel's being real cheeky there, but it's like, okay, if Nigel's saying this, if Phil's struggling to find the one, if Tom can't find the beat too, it's like, there must be something going on. There must be something going on. And I knew at this point, like, all logic and evidence pointed to this fact that Videotape was syncopated. The piano part was off the beat. It was ahead of the one. And I knew this in my head, but I still couldn't feel it. I couldn't hear it. I tried so hard to actually hear it that way, but it was just impossible. And it was like, try to count this. It's like impossible, right? And it took training. Even though I lost it there. When it took training. I had to like use theory and ear training to help me understand what was going on in the song, and I did so with the help of Ableton. And I dropped the song in channel 1 in here so that I could hear a beat before this. And I'm going to include this MP3 in the video description so you can download it too and hear it after. But it totally changes the feeling of the song, and it makes it more like the 2006 version. It helps you hear the piano as being pushed, as being like early and ahead, like it's trying to like pull the song ahead. It's really weird. It's the same thing. It didn't change, but your perception of where the one is changes. And if you're a drummer, okay, the one is the most important thing. And if you lose the one, like Tom did, like Phil did, when you lose the one, we struggle to find the one, your whole delivery of a performance changes. It just sounds shaky, it sounds unconfident, you'll probably be early or late. Music, especially in the context of rhythm, is very unforgiving in this way, where if you lose the one, you're done for. So like it's actually really, really interesting to think of the one as being completely hidden from all evidence. And that's the way they've done it in, well, obviously in the solo basement version where Tom's just playing piano by himself, you can't hear the one at all. And then in the album version, it makes sense that when they did it like that, that it would be really, really difficult to find. It would be like totally hidden, okay? But yeah, when I put this together with this like little rock hi-hat metronome thing I created, you know, let's hear this by itself. It's like, it sounds like this. With a basic little 808 rim shot as the backbeat. When I put that together, it just like totally changed the way I was listening to the song. And then what I would do is I'd train myself to hear the original without the programmed backbeat to see if I could still hear the syncopation. And in the beginning, I just couldn't. I literally could not. But after a while, I started listening to it, and only the syncopated version on repeat. And I started to listen to that version, okay, the one that I had created when I found out that the friggin' tempo was 154.78 BPM. It was the only way I could sync up the metronome. When I started to listen to this version, the syncopated version I had created, it sounds like this. Here's an earlier one I did. There's the piano. That's going to come in with the kick drum. I listened to this version so many times until I could place the one where it wasn't audibly, where it wasn't, the one wasn't audibly there, but I could place it. After listening enough, I could place it there. And I listened so many times that I got really, I won't say good at it, really comfortable with the idea that the piano was not on the one. And man, I commented on More Tiki Tempo, not like surely it can't be syncopated. I remember there's actual proof online that like I was wrong. I was totally wrong. It was like back in 2010, and like I went through this whole journey of really looking at the song and trying to figure out whether what this person was saying was making any sense or not. You know, there are people out there who believe that the song is syncopated, but it is hugely overlooked. And you know, does it matter? Does it matter? It's an interesting question, right? It's really an interesting question, because if you still like it, like Nigel said, does it really matter? I created this metronome type beat because to me it did matter. It mattered to me that I could hear the song the way the band could hear the song. And there's this cool comment by Cool Foam, and on Reddit, and he sums it up. Basically, he's like, the main cue, you know, he made a version too to show you how elements of it syncopate, line up if you syncopate it. And he says the main clue in Videotape album version is the electronic snare that enters in the outro. It's on the backbeat, just like Phil's snare was in the 2006 arrangement. You see how all these versions have a common thread now? That's the closest the studio version gets to a reveal. The syncopation is so deeply buried in the final version, there's a philosophical argument to be had about whether it's still there at all. But from the band's perspective, it's syncopated. Now that to me, great comment by Cool Foam, but that to me sums it all up. And as a musician, as a songwriter, to me, the band's perspective, how they hear the song, is very important, because how you hear the song, how you have it envisioned in your mind, is what you're going to project. It's what you're going to put out there with your performance. I'm losing my voice, getting so passionate here. And I thought about this thing. It's like a few years ago, when in 2011 they toured, or it was 2012, they toured for the King of Limbs, and they were coming through where I was living at the time, San Jose. And I had a few friends who were in town who were going to see the show, and like we had waited really early in the morning to get our wristbands, or was it our tickets? I don't remember. But they came over to my house, I invited them, and I started waxing poetic about how Videotape was syncopated. Because at that time in 2012, I think, I had finally come around, and I was trying to preach that, like, hey, this song is like got this really hidden thing going on, and they've intentionally obscured it. And let me show you what it is. I played it for these guys who were over at my house, and I was just so in awe at the time, and I had this thought that I communicated with the listening party there. It was like, I had this thought that Tom York, he listens to a metronome in his head. It's like this thing. You can even hear it in the piano only version from the basement. It's like this. And if you listen really closely in the in Rainbow's version, you can hear it at the end as well. You can hear the metronome in there, and it's like you don't need a 16th note like fancy rhythm to be able to play such a simple rhythmic song if it is 1, 2, 3, 4. But because Tom York hears that metronome, it's to aid him, right? The reason he is listening to that metronome is to aid him in playing it syncopated. and he is producing something that the fans can enjoy that he himself cannot enjoy. And it's crazy. I mean, it's not like an egotistical thing, but like musicians, when they play, one of the reasons we play is because we enjoy the sound that we're creating, that's coming out of our fingers and from our voices. And Tom York literally cannot enjoy the same thing that everybody else is hearing, because they don't hear the metronome. He's got the metronome in his earpiece, just helps him play it, and that's the way he hears it, is he hears the piano off the beat, but nobody else hears that metronome when they perform it. So it's like this crazy thing where he is like, it's like almost like a gift that he's giving. It's like, here, to those of you who enjoy this song, enjoy it. But to those of you who enjoy the song and know that there's something else going on that we put into it, this is a gift for you, and enjoy it. Enjoy it as well. Enjoy it in a whole different way. And the song just, man, I think about this song and like all the versions of this song, like it's like they're struggling to find a perfect expression of it. And every one of these versions has something really special in it. And you can even hear little hints of the syncopation coming through. You just go back and listen. Trust me, like it's worth it if you want to study this concept of hidden syncopation. Go listen to Little by Little from the King of Limbs. Go listen to The Butcher, which was that 12-inch they released on Record Store Day. Go listen to those songs and you'll notice that this is not the first time they've done it. Or certainly not the only time they've done it, but they've hidden syncopation because it adds some level of depth, musical depth, to the appreciation of the song that otherwise you just kind of don't get. You don't get if you don't realize that it's there. And there's something so cool about that, where it's like they're pushing themselves, they're innovating, and they don't think that there's a problem with taking a risk. That, hey, what if 99.99% of people miss this? That's like pretty amazing. It's just like so subtle. And the guy Cool Foam on Reddit, he mentioned 99.99 people, percent of people probably don't hear it syncopated. And I'm hoping that after this video, it's 99.98, As a songwriter, as a musician, I think that it would be a really big honor to write with the same level of effort and innovation and level of risk-taking that I hear in Radiohead's catalog, specifically in this song Videotape. So it's like a song that is kind of like a goal as a songwriter, as a musician, to kind of shoot for in terms of like what I see that they put into it. That's how much we should put into making music. And I'm really thankful that I'm able to understand some of the rhythm stuff, because I was fortunate enough to have lessons on drums. Early on, if some of you don't know this, but like before I played guitar, I played jazz drums, and I was doing a lot of syncopation, a lot of shuffle, and just swinging hard, and that background ended up really impacting the way that I approach the guitar. And I'm completely self-taught on the guitar, but having a teacher on the drums, those concepts transmitted over to the guitar. And rhythm is just one of the biggest concepts. And to be honest, rhythm was one of my very weak approaches. Out of like being able to hear melody and harmony and rhythm was tough for me. And it still is. It's not my strongest suit when I approach music. Rhythm's tough. But music is so unforgiving. It's like you're either early or you're late or you're on time, but once that moment's gone, it's it. But if you are interested in getting deeper into rhythm and really beefing up your craft and trying to understand rhythm, how to count, how to hear the one, how to hold on to it and not lose it when there's syncopation, I am working on a series. It's a little module of 10 episodes on rhythm. And it's going to be something that is not hopefully not too difficult to follow, right? Where people use all these crazy symbols and all these fancy words and stuff. I like to try to make it accessible. And I've already done a module on melody and a module on harmony, 10 episodes each. They're available now. And my whole goal is to make these subjects that are at the core of a song, melody, harmony, and rhythm. Part 3 is next. How to make these subjects accessible so that they're not overwhelming. And we're not just approaching our instrument by way of looking at YouTube tutorials or at tabs, where we're not actually engaging our own ear with the original song, with the original recording, and letting us and our hearing of the song, or our appreciation for what the musician or the band is putting into the song, guide our delivery of the song, of our performance of the song, or our appreciation of the song. It's like, rather than let some third party or some kind of prepackaged musical information dictate how we experience the song, why not connect with the song directly? And that's my whole goal. And the rhythm module that I'm working on, it's in production now, is geared towards helping people get into rhythm the way that musicians hear rhythm. So if you want to hear and think and understand, think about rhythm the way musicians do, this is a module for you. So look forward to that. Sign up for my mailing list if you'd like to hear more about that. And I really believe that it can help people. And it's part of this like 3-part module that's at the foundation. So check that out. There's a lot of free videos I've released on YouTube, so you can see what it's about before you commit to it and purchase it. But that's my little plug. Videotape is an amazing example, and all the versions of it are amazing examples of rhythm and what the musician puts into a performance, what the songwriter puts into a piece. And I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. Check out the cover that I made. I know this video is super long already, but the cover, man, I had to put 50 hours into it, at least. I started it before I got married, or before my wedding reception, and then I moved across the country and it wasn't done yet, so I just finished it and put it together, and I hope you really enjoy that. And yeah, see you in another video.